Without further ado, we got an amazing guest today. One of my favorite comedians and his special, America. I love the title of his special so much. America is the greatest country in the United States. Please welcome the world champ himself, Mr. Judah Friedlander. Judah, how are you?
Being a winner, Ron. The country's perfect. No problems at all. Things are going great. It's a proud day to be an American.
Yes. Yes.
Hundreds of years of imperialism, foreign and domestic. Stand proud, everybody.
Time.
It's actually, it's an interesting time, and since the shutdown, things have really, they've ebbed and flowed in incredibly interesting ways. It's been a mix of absolute terror of the disease. It's been terror of our government's response to the disease. It's been terrorizing how certain politicians have dishonestly, called the disease not even real, and economically, because our government isn't doing enough to take care of the people here, it's terrifying. But the past couple of weeks, seeing, the sustained protests that are going on during an historic disease pandemic is so impressive and so inspiring. It actually gives you a little bit of hope, and you see these politicians actually all of a sudden starting to say, oh, we have some legislation for to change the police situation. It's like, oh, really? I wonder why you didn't bring that up before. I wonder what could have happened. So it's just and it's just so interesting how so many people, they think democracy is once every 4 years you vote and then you get a little sticker and you show that sticker to your friends and then that you voted and that's it. That's all you got to do. And, I think if you look throughout history, democracy is, and, human rights is something that's pretty much never happened, and, governments, for whatever reasons, are, they're designed to oppress people, and that's what they do. I mean, we used to have kings and queens and slaves everywhere, always. That's kind of how it was. So
yeah, now we just have dynasty families,
right? Exactly.
So we switched out for.
Right. So you can make the argument that not much has changed. I mean, obviously, it's not everywhere in the world, but in a fair amount of places in the world, it's better than that. But it's not that great, So
yeah, I mean, but you bring up the protest, and that is sort of a reason for optimism, because I mean, yeah, I was just talking with a friend the other day, and I'm like, look, this has been numerically the biggest mass protests in the history of the United States, and it's during a pandemic.
Yeah,
it's while a pandemic is going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it you mentioned like, oh, people just show up and they vote for years. I think the other big lesson people need to take away here is just where you really actually have a say and where you really actually have a little bit of power is locally. I mean, look at what's happening in Minneapolis right now because people kept showing up.
I mean, I saw that on video, the mayor just getting booed out and doing that long walk of shame. I mean,
I want that woman to run against him.
That's
what I want.
I mean, if you saw that in a movie, you'd be like, they're overdoing it. It wouldn't be that bad, I mean, that was unbelievable. It was incredible. I mean, even though I disagree with that mayor, I feel a little bad for the guy because it was so humiliating, just on a humanity level. That was just like, how does he go on? What do you do right after that? It's like, Like, I want to know.
Probably lose.
What he did right after that. What was he doing? What was his thought process? You know, it was just wow.
I'd imagine he took off those man prees and had a stiff drink. That's what I'd imagine he did.
Took off the what?
Took off the man prees and had a stiff drink.
Oh, I don't even know what that is. What is that?
Those are. Do people still say that? It's like they're like.
I don't even know what the word is, so I don't know.
They're like, well, you know, capris, those pants that are like they're cut off.
Oh,
I
didn't notice really what he was.
That's what. Yeah, I think he had on man prees, which I used to wear them. I think that's and I would call them man prees. Like I'm like, yeah, I'm wearing my man prees.
Right. Okay.
So I didn't know
what you meant there. Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a long time. That's why I was like, oh, dude, he's sporting man prees and he's dancing. And hey, he could have.
Oh, okay.
He could have even just sort of deflected a little bit and it's like, well, I'm going to see what city council says.
Right.
And I'm going to wait. But he didn't do that. He's like
generic things. but you know, they didn't let him. They were just like, yes or no. Yes or no.
Yeah.
But I tell you, he did, and this is even just from like a performer level, he did everything wrong. It's like you know when you do stand-up comedy, as a comedian, if you've been doing it long enough, you know when the setup of a venue and a gig is just not going to work. You know, like sometimes you're at a place where, you know, you might do a show that's, you know, at a hotel banquet room, and in the same room in another part of it, there's a wedding party going on. That's not part of the comedy show. And the microphone is bad. The acoustics are terrible. People can't hear you well. You know, it's almost impossible to do well. So it's like, so he had like a shitty microphone that had almost no volume on it. He was like 10 foot below the person who was talking to him. So like every dynamic he had there, he was set to lose, you know. And then that long walk, we had to walk through everybody. Oh my God.
They're just booing him.
Yeah. I remember one time years ago, I had to do a prom show. I had to do a stand-up show after the prom on a boat. So
I hear stories about these, and it's always from New York guys.
Yeah, the New York, I don't know if they still do it, but they used to do it a lot. This is like 25 some years ago. And so I remember I had to do this show. It was a terrible setup. The DJ hated all the students. He was screaming at them all the time. The students it was mostly a black high school, and the DJ was some white guy from Long Island, and he was mad because the students were dancing a lot, and the boat was down.
Wait, what? The DJ was mad because the students were dancing.
Yeah, because of the boat wavering, and I think the students dancing so much, and the shitty boat. It was a shitty boat they were on. His records were skipping, so he's worried about his records scratching. So he's blasting the music and screaming at them not to dance so much.
Stop having fun. I'm the DJ.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden he just stops the record. It's like, all right, it's comedy time. And the students, they didn't even know there was a comedy show that was going to be happening. You know,
that's always a recipe for success.
It didn't go as bad as I thought it was going to go. It was not good, but it was not as bad as I thought it was going to go. For high school students who are horny and want to dance all night, and they were supposed to be on a fancy boat, they got stuck on a shitty boat with the DJ who was yelling at them. The show was actually pretty good, but nevertheless, that's not an easy situation. And then after the show, I just have to sit on the boat for fucking 2 hours. There's I do like a 15-minute set, and then I have nowhere to go.
You didn't sell merch,
and that reminded me of that the mayor of Minneapolis. It's like he says exactly what nobody there wants to hear, and then he has to walk a mile and a half slowly through everybody. It was hilarious.
So it would have been worse if he would have been stuck on a boat. That would have made it
right. That would have
even worse for him.
Do that for his rebuttal. He should come back for his rebuttal.
He would have just had to chill there.
Yeah, do a little boat cruise and invite everyone on, and then give the wrong answer again.
Give the wrong answer again, and then you just have to sit there in a corner, like, I'm not gonna change my mind. Not doing it.
I almost wonder if like that video, if that's what did it. Was that the turning point with the city council where they're like, all right, we can't. It's like, how do you come back after that? It's like he got booed so hard by so many people. It's like, it's like they had to be like, yeah, we're gonna.
Maybe, yeah, dude. Especially if like I don't know, all the ins and outs of politics in Minneapolis, but maybe someone on that council is planning to run against him.
Oh, that could be. Oh,
and they were like, "Yep, I'm a yes on this. I think it's a good idea."
Yeah, you're right. The co-opting of it. You're right. Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
I mean, I don't know. It's
politics. I usually don't. I don't even think about, and that's why I would never go into it, because it's like all those games and shit. It's like I fight for human rights, but when it comes to like, who said this to get that point, God, that stuff's ugly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's totally ugly, man. I mean, on a local level, it's usually not quite as ridiculous, but it's still there, and it's still like most local politics are like real estate people and stuff like that.
Really? Oh wow.
In a lot of cases, but still, like when you show up to a city hall, and when you show up and you protest, and when you boo the mayor out of a protest,
oh man,
that has some power where they're going to be like, okay, we kind of want to make.
I have a question. Happy. Did you say he was dancing with everyone at some point?
Yeah, he was dancing with everyone.
That must have been earlier.
I think so. Yeah, like there's a video of him dancing.
I wonder if he thought it's like, all right, people are digging me, and like maybe went in too cocky to that.
They're gonna let me see. I will say, like, if I was a mayor and I was in his shoes, I would have requested, like, when I answer that question, can I explain myself?
Right.
I would have been like, can I give you, because otherwise this footage is going to be, used against me somehow. Because my answer would have been yes. My answer would have been like, my answer to your question is yes, but let me explain what that means, because people are going to try to use this against me. Right. And I think they would have met him. I think they would have been okay with that.
Interesting. Yeah, that video was unbelievable.
I still hope she runs. I still hope she runs against him.
Could be.
That's who a couple people are going to write her in at least.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and